Welcome to Truth Talkin Thursday. This is Jim. I'm Jane. So, because we've taken so much time off, we didn't get a chance to do our typical, I remember last New Year's, we talked a little bit about resolutions, but Jim's got some really good ideas about not making New Year's resolutions, and I've been doing a lot of thinking about it this past week in anticipation of having this talk, and I think for me, I recognize that life changes all the time. There's always like new challenges and new things that come about that cause us to change, that cause us to reevaluate and go in different directions, sometimes by choice, sometimes not so much. And we talked about that a little bit last week when we talked about some health concerns that we had and that we struggled with. And I think for me it's interesting how it's not that I don't think about New Year's resolutions necessarily, but more I'm thinking about goals and trying to be me and do what I need to do, me first. And a lot of times when we say those words, we have this maybe guilty feeling that, oh, I shouldn't be feeling that way. That's selfish. But I think there's a point that it would be selfish, but it's not selfish to put yourself first, because I think that actually promotes the best version of yourself that you can be.
I would agree.
So Jim, take it away. Please explain to me about New Year's resolutions.
I don't have a lot of use for them, actually. I think they're kind of a...
Why?
Well, I think with the best of intentions, I think people utter them or talk about them or state them. And I don't know many people who actually carry through or carry on with them. Some do, but not many.
So is it the New Year's resolution that bothers you? Or is it the lack of carrying through that bothers you?
Change is a process. It's not an event.
It is a process.
So and like with any process, you have to kind of think it through. You have to kind of, how am I going to do this? How am I going to manage this? How am I going to continue to do this? All this kind of stuff. To me, it's an excuse to not make change. And
fair. Well, true change happens when you change your thinking. Mm-hmm. You can't. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result.
And if you're going to make those kind of promises to yourself or to the family or to whoever you're making it to, your wife, your husband, your kids, there's certain things that you should probably do and be aware of before you go ahead and do it, before you make a commitment to trying to do it, and then find out that you either can't or don't want to, and then you don't, and then you make excuses and people get upset with you. And
So what should you do to make a commitment to change?
I think, first of all, you've got to decide, you've got to gather some info. You got to get some information. So what is it?
So
what
research
is it about?
your change?
Yeah, research the change. So the issue is, anyway, you got to have a plan. And you got to do something that feels good for you.
Yeah.
It fits into your schedule. It fits into your your work. When you get up,
so
you can't do that.
Do some research into what you want to do.
Get some information. Make a plan.
Okay.
Figure out, okay, how am I going to do this? Second piece of this then is, who's going to help you? Because you need support.
So have a support group.
You got to have a support system. Is it going to be it can't be your kids. You can't be doing this for your kids.
No.
Because your kids don't give a shit. Excuse me. For the most part, they really don't, unless you're going to have a heart attack. But
nobody does.
No.
Nobody. No. And that's not to be rude or disrespectful to anybody. I mean, I have a wonderful, supportive group of encouraging individuals in my life, and I am so thankful for them. But the bottom line is, they have their own lives, and they should be caring about themselves too. Nobody cares about me like I should care about myself. And if I don't care about myself, nobody else is going to care about me either.
Right, but and that's true. But you got to know who's in your corner. You got to have somebody in your corner that's going to pick you up and support you when you kind of feel like falling off the wagon. Sort of thing. So who's that going to be? And you clear that with that person or that group or whatever. Whether it's a support group, it might be a support group. It might be. Geez, I don't know, Overeaters Anonymous, or it could be, I don't care what it is, it doesn't matter what it is, but you need to have somebody that you know cares about what happens,
Right.
and you have to help them understand how they can be helpful to you.
Right. Right.
Don't lecture me about eating. That's not going to be helpful to me.
Unless that is something that's helpful
Well,
to you. Whatever.
unless I say to you, that's how you can help me, is remind me that I'm an idiot and I fell off the wagon and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to kind of articulate what it is you're going to help me with and how that's going to work for me.
Well, and you have to know what has caused you to fall off the wagon before.
And then tell your support.
Yeah.
Say, look, if you see me moping around, I'm going to be on a tear soon, sort of thing. Just remind me. I'm not saying you don't have to go and stop me from doing things,
No.
but you just need to remind me. And if I can't take it from there, then that's on me. That's not on my support.
Yep.
But it's somebody who you trust and somebody that has got your best interest at heart, and
Yeah.
so you got to have somebody like that. If you don't, people that go it alone don't do well.
No.
So
Support is key.
that's the second piece. The third piece is, and it's probably the most important piece of this whole thing, is the difference between need and want. I want to drop 30 pounds. I need to drop 30 pounds. The guy who wants to drop 30 pounds is going to be more successful than the one who says, I need to drop 30 pounds. There's a
Right.
distinct difference between the two.
Yeah.
And the people who say, I need to do this, don't last long
No.
anymore. So we're looking at, you got to have a plan. You got to have some support behind you. And it has to be a want as opposed to a need. And if you can put those three things in order, then you stand a much better chance of following through with that than
With
you
effective
would.
change.
Yeah, but maintaining the change. It's not
Yeah.
just making the change.
Yeah, no.
Anybody can quit.
If you make a plan and you desire to change and you change, it's really not a change if it's not maintained.
That's right.
It's basically
It's a rest.
Sure. It's like you mentioned about people going on a diet. So if you look at something as a diet, you won't stay on it.
No.
Because as soon as you attain your goal, if you lose the 30 pounds, you're going to scrap the diet and go back to exactly the way you were eating before.
Exactly.
You have to find that is the importance of the plan itself. You have to find something that suits your life for who you are and the lifestyle that you choose to live, whatever that means. Now, if you decide you would like to change that lifestyle to implement something else, again, if you want to do that, that is going to bring about effective change.
That's why I don't put a lot of faith in New Year's resolutions to kind of foster change.
Yeah.
And I think people set themselves up for failure, and I think people set themselves up to end up being worse off because you get depressed because you can't make the change, and so on and so on and so on. And what a normal people, if you're on a diet and people that are depressed or saddened or angry, what do? They eat.
Yeah.
Comfort food, right?
So effective change is possible.
Oh, sure.
But it takes
Yep.
a plan, it takes a support group, and it takes a knowledge of yourself to figure out what is need and what is want. If you want it, you can change.
Absolutely.
Have a great week, everybody.
Thanks for stopping by.